everyone, and welcome to the second part of this video series where we're going to be talking about training. If you haven't seen my first video about nutrition, I highly recommend it, so please stop this video, go and see the first one, and come back to the second. But if you already know about nutrition, don't worry about it. Stay tuned to this video where I'm going to be talking all about, and I'm also going to give you some advice when it comes to training. I've been training since I was 13, and I'm also a personal trainer. I've been training a lot of people, family and friends, and they all have had success. So I'm very excited to give you some advice. And just like my nutrition video, I do have some points I want to hit. I have 4 points here. And you're going to see that some of the points are very similar to nutrition because I always like to tackle this very similar. And the first point I want to hit is building a solid foundation. Once again, this is very important when you want to create a training plan, because if you don't have a solid foundation, then you're not gonna have the success that you need in your training. So what do I mean by having a solid foundation with the training? This consists of having the foundation of building strength from body weight. The reason I like to start with this is because even with my personal experience, when I first started training when I was 13 years old, I started just doing body weight, doing push-ups, doing air squats, sit-ups, and even pull-ups. This helped me to build a solid foundation in order to challenge just with my body weight. And once I got used to it, once I got stronger with just using my body weight, now is an indication that I can use weights in order to challenge my body. And this also helps to have muscle growth. If you think back when you were probably in elementary school or in middle school, what are the first thing they start? They start with body weight. You do the physical, is the mile, and you do the push-ups and also the sit-ups. And there's the reason behind that is because you want to build muscle or strength by utilizing your body weight. If you utilize your body weight, you're going to have a solid foundation. And that's when I first started. So if you are a novice, you are new, and you're trying to build a good physique, I will highly recommend to start with body weight so that you can build strength. So start with just the fundamentals: push-ups, air squats, and sit-ups. And if you have a pull-up bar, you can use the pull-up, and also chin-ups in order to build strength on your back. So it's very important that we build a solid foundation. But if you want to skip the body weight, there's nothing wrong with that. You can start with the weights, but also if you are starting with the weights, please start with the compound movements. Now, for those who do not know what a compound movement are, the compound movements are movements that involve many different muscle groups. So the traditional bench press, the military press, or shoulder press, the deadlift, and even pull-ups are considered compound movements because you are utilizing many different muscle groups. So if you do not want to utilize your body weight and you want to go straight to lifting weights, I will first focus on the compound movement and establish a 1 rep max. The reason why this is important is because you need to know how much you can lift. By establishing 1 rep max, you can take away the percentages, and by that you can start exercising and building, because one of the things is once you establish a 1 rep max, you want to get even stronger. And how can you get stronger if you don't know how or what is your limit in that lift? So by knowing your 1 rep max, you can diminish the percentages to 75% or 80% and start building your training plan based or around your 1 rep max. So it's very important that you know what it is, so that way one, it's going to keep you hyped, and it's going to give you a motivation that now that I have established a 1 rep max, I want to get even stronger. And you can only do that by utilizing the 1 rep max and taking away the percentages and building around that. So by building a solid foundation on your training will definitely keep you on track to what the next point is. So my next point when building your training is knowing your goal. So this is very important. If you do not know your goal, then this is, once again, is going to a battlefield blinded, without a fighting plan. So if you do not go with a plan of attack, most likely your training program is going to fail. So you need to know what your goal is. Is it fat loss or is it bulking? What is your goal? Is it being more of an athlete, or is it more about building strength? Is it more about just looking good, hypertrophy? So it's very important that you understand what is your goal. So most likely, if you're just a beginner, you want to either lose fat and gain muscle. That is what it encourages everybody to start lifting, right? So it's very important that you start knowing what your goal is. So if your goal is to lose fat, focus on that. But if your goal is to just build muscle, focus on bulking. And this, once again, needs to be around your nutrition as well. This is why I always encourage that if you are starting a training plan, also establish your nutrition plan, because nutrition and physical activity will always go hand in hand. So you need to have both in order to be successful. So know your goal. Now, the next step, or the third point, is building a training plan according to your likes and dislikes. This is very important too, because it's just like the nutrition. Your training should be based on who you are and what. Just like the second point, what is your goal? Usually, most people will start with bodybuilding. I started with bodybuilding, and it was great. But with the bodybuilding, because it helped me to grow muscle and helped me to have um, almost like a discipline when it comes to training, and helped me to evolve into different types of training or different types of sports. So for I'm gonna take myself as an example. I consider myself a CrossFitter. I do CrossFit. Probably around 80% to 85% of my training is CrossFit based, and the other percentages are bodybuilding. There was a time that I only did bodybuilding. Then once I transitioned to CrossFit, it was only CrossFit. But even in those years, I still missed bodybuilding. So nowadays, I do the two. There's no rule that you cannot do multiple sports. That is something that a lot of us get into. I'm actually an example of that too. I just because became a CrossFitter, I thought I'm only going to do CrossFit, but that is far from the truth. That you can definitely do multiple different types of training and based on your goal. Because with CrossFit, it helps me to be a well-rounded athlete, because it involves many different aspects of fitness, from Olympic lifting, gymnastics, and running. But bodybuilding also helps strengthen my training in CrossFit. So it's very important that you know what your likes and dislikes are, and how to focus the different types of training and harness your goal, because it's definitely going to help your training. It's not going to jeopardize it. So you need to know what your goals are. So this is why the 2 points is very important, so that now you can build a training based on your needs and on what you like. So once again, CrossFit for me is something that I like, but I still have the bodybuilding because I also like to look good, not just feel good and being very athletic, but also like to look good. But always my priority will always be health. So always keep that in mind, that even with the nutrition, your training should also be around your health, and you shouldn't be jeopardizing your health with many different enhanced drugs or whatever. So try to do it naturally, and just be careful when it comes to your training. Always remember that you want your health to be the priority. And the last point I want to take is, know that your plan may change. This is very important. So this is also important to keep different training plans to avoid a plateau. In our fitness journey and in your training, you're going to experience a plateau, and that is totally fine. That's totally fine. That happens to all of us. It happened to me. This is why you always want to have different types of training programs, so you can split them up however you want. When I first started, I didn't have anybody to teach me, so I was kind of blinded. I kind of had an idea, but just watching YouTube and watching different types of fitness models, and also influencers who knew a lot of information, I took whatever I needed from them, and whatever worked for me, I kept it, and whatever didn't, I dumped it. And that is something that I want to reinforce in this video, that whatever works for you, keep it, and if it doesn't work, dump it. There are so many different movements out there that you can definitely utilize. Your training should be based on your goal, based on who you are, and you need to pick a training that is going to be based on your goal alone. So by having different types of training programs will definitely work. You need to have a strength training program, probably a hypertrophy program, also an agility program. I highly recommend that too, because you definitely want to become a well-rounded athlete, and also a fat loss program too, so that way whenever you want to bulk, you can focus on bulking with the strength training. If you want to lose fat, remember the body composition is very important. You want to focus on maybe the fat loss program. So always keep different types of programs, and try to keep it probably two months by doing one program and then change it. And once again, this will depend on the person too. So it's very important that you keep different types of programs, so that way you don't hit a plateau. The other thing also, when it comes to this, by creating different types of plans, not only will it keep it interesting, it also will help you to focus on different areas in your fitness. So it's very important to keep that in mind, and especially if you want to get into competitions, you definitely want to focus on the type of training that is going to get you ready for that competition. All right. For me, for example, I do a lot of different competitions that involves CrossFit based movements. For example, I do competitions in CrossFit, I do High Rocks, DECA. So those are the type of training that my training should be around that. So, but keep in mind that even if I do those competitions, I won't do that type of training all year round. I will just focus. For example, if I have a competition, let's say in August, I will start getting ready probably in June, just so that I can try to be physically ready for that competition, and then I will switch to a different type of programs. All right, so just to wrap this up, I do want to give you the 4 points that I hit in this video. So those points are: building a solid foundation. Once again, with body weight or weight, I highly recommend to start with body weight, because that way your body can get stronger and your body can get used to just your body weight. Once you get stronger on your body weight, you can start moving on to the weights, because you're going to see that your body's asking for more demand, for more challenge. So it's just natural. It comes natural. The next point is knowing your goals, whether it's fat loss or bulking. This is very important, because it's going to keep you on track, and by knowing what your goal is. And also you need to understand your body composition is very important too, that we are focusing on fat loss and building muscle. So, and also your percentage of fat will also will be a contributing factor on what you want to get your training to be around with. For example, if you are 30%, you probably want to look for fat loss, or if you are probably 15% or a little bit less, maybe you want to focus on bulking. But once again, that is your goal. The next step is building a training plan according to your likes and who you are. This is very important, because if you do not focus on a training plan that you like, and based on who you are, you're more than likely to fail, and that training is not going to be enjoyable. So it's very important that you enjoy your training and focus on your goal. And the last point is know that your plan may change. Keep different types of training plans to avoid a plateau. By having different types of training plans will definitely help you to keep on track. One recommendation that I always give is to keep a training plan for 2 months and then change it. Depending if you enjoy that type of training, you can keep it for as long as you want. Once again, this is based on who you are. So those are the 4 points from this video. I just hope that this helps you. Like I said, this is just a general idea on how to train. I will definitely make more videos about training. I will also give you some different types of challenges when it comes to training, so that you can see if you can beat me. So those are the type of videos I'm going to be making in the future, but for now I just want to keep it basic and simple. So I just hope that with this video and this advice can definitely help you to start with your training program. So if you are intermediate or advanced, maybe this type of video may not be for you, because you already know, but it's always good to see it as a refresher. But if you are a beginner, I highly recommend to use these 4 points in order to build a good foundation in training. But always remember that your nutrition and physical activity of training will always go hand in hand. You cannot have one or the other. You need to have both in order to reach your goal. All right, so this is it for this video. The next video will be about rest, so I highly recommend to see that one as well, because rest is as important as training. So until next time, my brothers and sisters of Christ, have a good day, and I hope to see you in the next video.